thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you for
Doing
coming
good.
on. Yeah, it's an honor to talk to you guys. I'm so excited for this project, and I can't wait for if folks out there have had a chance to read Iyanu by Dark Horse. It is a terrific graphic novel, and the Lion Forge team here is just going to knock it out of the park with this wonderful looking adaptation that I think no one is ready for. And they're going to love it when they finally get a chance to see it. Um, I wanted to start by asking for both of you guys, how did you come about the project? How did you guys discover the graphic novel, and what was the process like of adapting it?
Sure. Actually, so known Roy a few years now. Originally talked to him as he was developing the graphic novel, and when it came time, this project, kind of came back to us again on the animation side, and with partners Forefront, and we're excited about getting on board with it. We think Roy is a great creator, and also love the authenticity and storytelling that brings to the table as well. And this is something a lot different than what the marketplace has had before in terms of really getting great storytelling, but having it rooted and based off of African mythology, specifically Nigerian mythology. And we're excited to work with him and put this out.
It's wonderful. If I can also ask, one of the things that's really central to the graphic novel, and one of the things I'm very excited about seeing come to life on the show, is the use of the Nigerian Yoruba culture to give both the world of the graphic novel and the world that we're going to see in the show a unique identity from any other, stories really told before it. And I wanted to ask you guys whether, can you talk about the process of using that culture to enhance the show? Which elements did you take from the graphic novel versus which ones you guys came up with when you were developing the show? Can you tease anything about that?
I can take that one. Yeah, I mean, what Roy and Godwin have created is a massive world based in Yorubaland culture in Nigeria. The city of Alu, the main center of the story, is kind of revolves around, it's kind of based off the walls of Benin, right, which was a real place. I could probably tell that Attack on Titan probably referenced the walls of Benin, but this is rooted in Yorubaland, Nigerian culture. That's the heart of our the center of our story, with our three main characters. And so transitioning it from the book, which has a lot of information in there. We brought Godwin Akpin, who's the artist of the book. He's now an art director on our series as well. So he's helpful in building out and fleshing out the world. He's a fantastic background artist as well. And so he's helped us a lot with, what you see in the book looks nice, but if you plus it times 100, that's what you'll get in the series. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing in the development right now, as far as backgrounds, are highly detailed, beautiful landscapes, and they definitely capture an ancient time in Africa. And you'll see that when you see the series, is everything is authentic from top to bottom. Our characters, which I'm excited about, are using a fighting style that's rooted from African culture of capoeira, dembe boxing style fighting, things like that. And so, a lot of authenticity in this fighting style is unique and fun to play with as well. And you'll see that everything from our voice actors, authentically Nigerian, our artists that are in development, authentically Nigerian, right? Our music, authentically Nigerian. So we're coming full force with authenticity in this project.
That's one of the things I'm very excited about, honestly, because look, I mean, we've had great animated action shows in the past, certainly things like the Airbender series, both of them. you know, Batman the Animated Series, all that. We've never seen anything like this. Something so rooted in real African culture, you know, in real Nigerian Yoruban culture. There hasn't been a project like this. Um, I had a question, honestly, about whether or not you drew from other animated classics. But I suppose I could still ask it, but I feel like because there's nothing else like this, it's a bit hard of a question to ask. Were there any other animated shows or anything that sort of influenced this that you were able to really infuse the Nigerian and Yoruban culture with to kind of make something new, to make something completely different?
I mean, I think to speak on that is we're kind of pioneering something new.
Yeah.
It, like when the announcement came out, you know, right away, people went to YouTube and there's like a YouTuber that came out and did a whole piece about the press release. And it dawned on me that this is the first time Cartoon Network is having a serious action adventure series in a long, long time. I think the most recent one they had was Teen Titans, not the Go Teen Titans, but the one before then.
Mhm.
But you know, some of the things that I draw from, was you know some of the anime. I look at the anime for the level of quality, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing we're taking pride in this production is quality. So the reason why I look at anime is because their effects, their lighting, some of their action scenes and things like that. But for the most part, you know, one of our directors, who's a first time director on a few episodes, he's actually does capoeira, right?
Oh,
So, you know, we have a point of reference to film these things, take the inspiration from the high intensity action scenes that you may see in anime and apply that to a new fighting style and a new art form that we'll showcase in the series as well.
I'm so excited to see that come to life, honestly. It's one thing when you're reading a graphic novel, you see these action sequences and they look great, don't get me wrong, because it's a work of art, but they're not moving. They're very still, obviously, because it's a graphic novel. So to see it flow, to see the dynamicness in it is going to be very exciting. Which sort of brings me to my next question. I think the style of the series looks wonderful so far from everything that we've seen, and you guys have gone with a very 2D animation approach, which I love. I love traditional animation, honestly, over different types of mediums that you could use to tell this story. Why was it important for you to go with that style? And, you know, I mean, did it help with the action sequences? Did you rotoscope any of that or anything when you were trying to put that on paper and paint?
Dave, you want to take that, or we can
Well,
share it?
you know, yeah. Well, I'll start off. I think as a studio, I think you know we're kind of more drawn towards this 2D to 2D styles, and I think part of it may be because of you know how we grew up. You know, when we're you know children of the '80s, so that's all we had is 2D animation. I mean, we saw the dawn of you know 3D and Pixar and all the rest of that stuff, but you know we still have a heart for that and the dynamicism that can be told in those kind of stories. And you know, we wanted to again to Saxon's point, you know, make sure that you know we're putting out something that's going to be epic and stuff. And I think you know when you look at you know 3D, I think it can be challenging a lot of times and also too very costly as well. And so, but you know, for what we're trying to achieve and also you know kind of the styleness that we're going after, trying to kind of also remain faithful to the you know graphic novel in a lot of ways. You know, we you know kind of chose this you know particular pathway.
And to add to what David said is that you know this is we're world building here, right? This is a very immersed, rich uh, wealth of a story and characters. There's so many different factions of people that live within the city wall, outside of the city wall. And so, you know, with this massive effect and this massive storytelling, you know, it's easier to start 2D, which a lot of people are familiar with, right? And then, you know, eventually as we expand, it could be CG animated spin-offs, there could be live action spin-offs, but it's harder to do it the other way around. You know what I mean? we're approaching this thing in a medium that people are familiar with, from like, anime fans, which in Japanese and anime, I see that as them, highlighting their culture, from their martial arts to their foods to their, slice of life stories. And what we're doing here with Iyanu is we're ushering a whole new genre of animation, focusing on African culture, and this being an action adventure series, which it will have, it's 2D, but there are some CG components that we'll be using within the series as well. And we're looking forward to, seeing what the people think when it's released.
If I can throw my 2 cents into the ring, I love traditional animation so much, and I worry every project that gets released that it might end up becoming a dying art form, which it's terrifying to think. I remember, when you see these old Disney movies that we grew up with, right? Like the Renaissance, the Beauty and the Beast, and Little Mermaid. It's just kind of like they don't make them like that anymore. And you really have to look to television to make these beautiful works of art and preserve the medium. And I love that you guys have dedicated yourselves to doing so as well with Iyanu. I can't, it's going to be gorgeous, and I love that about it. So thank you guys for doing everything in your power to help preserve a medium that just isn't as frequent as it used to be, and is infinitely more gorgeous, I would argue, than not to take anything away from the art form of CGI and so what some amazing studios do. But I think between you guys, between like Cartoon Saloon, between some of the other projects out there, it's nice to see traditional animation still represented and still is, showing you how gorgeous it could be, even without minimal use of computers, So yeah. Just my 2 cents. Had to say that.
Oh, we agree.
Because I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of traditional animation. I want to preserve it. Speaking of animation, I think recently there have been statements by a lot of different CEOs, and it's kind of a cynical view of things. Some of those CEOs aren't CEOs anymore, but about how animation is just for kids, it's just a children's medium and everything like that. And certainly, I think there's so many people who disagree with that statement, myself included. I wanted to see what your guys' take was on that outlook, how people have been kind of saying that it's just for children, and how you guys intend to really just continue to combat those stereotypes, especially at Lions Forge,
You touch on one of my favorite subjects all the time, is that, animation just for kids. I think one of our, tenets and as an organization is trying to push the boundaries of and expectations of what people think of for animation. And so you look at other countries, specifically Japan. Japan has animation paradigms for every subject, every genre, and every age group. And here in America, unfortunately, we've gotten really siloed. Just in, hey, it's just kids and family stuff. I mean, it's starting to grow, and a lot of that's owed to the expansion of anime and popularity of anime in the American market, and also I'll do a lot of it's due to Netflix pushing a lot of paradigms of Castlevania and other shows like that, that kind of really show you like, hey, we can do some other things, and this is not just kid stuff. And so we're this is kind of a step forward for us as a company. I know we're kind of known for things like Hair Love and some kid shows and things like that, content that we produced in the past. But Iyanu is kind of showing you that, hey, we can take that step forward into some older content, and we also have some other things that we haven't announced yet that are in the hopper that go even beyond this and enter more into the adult realm of things from a storytelling standpoint. So we just look at it at the end of the day as a medium that you can have infinite possibilities in, which is something that you can't do and are limited by a lot of times in live action.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for that assessment, and I'm so glad to hear it, because honestly speaking, some of those in charge need to hear that. Um, I have one final question for you guys, and I seriously am skeptical about how much you might be able to reveal. But what can you tease about this adventure that people are going to be taking, potentially when we might see it? If you have that information, and what what can we know? What can we know right now about Iyanu that has not been revealed yet?
I mean, I guess I could say that we'll have your beautiful backdrop you have there was concept art from the press release. But most people will probably get a vision of what the series is going to look like. We have a presence at Kids Screen coming up in February, and you'll be able to see what it looks like. Around February, March, the public may get a glimpse of what the series is going to look like. I can tell you firsthand, the writing team is doing a phenomenal job. We have a very diverse, passionate writers room, and they're diving into season 2 right now. I've been reading the scripts. The storytelling is amazing. There's a lot of focus on our trio. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of heartfelt moments. It is a kids and family series. I doubt there'll be any blood, but there will be fighting. There will be fighting. And if you're familiar with the series, you know that there are divine beings within the story, which are like, African gods and stuff that lived before the time of Iyanu, right? So what we will have is I think we have 20, it was announced in the press release, but there's 26 episodes. There's 2 for each season. There's an episodic movie that takes place that gives a little bit of backstory and history of the time before Iyanu. And I think that's as much as I can tell right now, but I'm on the front lines of the production and some of the animation that we're doing, and it's looking amazing. It's unlike anything that I've seen before, especially with a Black female action lead, which is it's very strong. So super excited for everyone to see what we've been working with.
And what I could just building on what Saxton said, and you can hear his passion about the project. He's in the zeitgeist of everything. And so I've spoken with the writers, and everybody that's involved with the project is so passionate about it. I mean, and the thing I keep hearing is that this experience is unlike anything I've ever experienced. We're talking about people that worked in a lot of different writers' rooms and stuff. So what you're going to see on screen is going to be excellence. So I'm really excited myself for it to come out to show people, because I personally love, as much as we love creating content, we love seeing how it touches other people's lives as well. And we feel like this is really going to touch a lot of people's lives in different ways.
I am first off, that was I expected absolutely no answers, and you guys provided such good stuff here, like so many good nuggets here. So I'm so grateful for that. Warms my heart, and I thank you for that. Second of all, just if you know the story and if you look at this gorgeous artwork, I think people, they are not prepared. This is going to be a classic. It's going to be talked about in the same breath as Airbender, and how that was a generational, influential cartoon series. Iyanu is going to be talked about in the same breath as that, I think. The sheer fact that you've got amazing representation here, amazing animation, amazing action, and a very serious, dramatic tone that's powerful. People aren't ready, guys. I'm so excited for people to see this. You have no idea. And I can't wait to see our first glimpses of it. If it's February and March, so close and yet so far. But I'm so grateful for everything that you guys shared and for the time that I've gotten to spend with you. David, Saxton, thank you so much for everything. This was wonderful.
Thank you as well, Mike.
All right.
Thank you. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. Have a great one, guys. Iyanu coming soon.
Fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life. Comics, movies, and TV. Yeah. Pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.